The next game that I want to show you is a little bit different than the other games that we've already looked at so far, and it's called NumTanga. This is another one of the original Greg Tang games from his website, or has been around a little bit longer than most of the other games. But this is a little bit different than just trying to find two numbers that make a third number. This activity or this game is all about the multiple means of how we represent numbers. Now, in elementary math and really up through high school, the main ways that we represent numbers are in what we call standard form, what the number looks like written down; word form, what the number would look like written out as a word; and what we call expanded form, where we break the number down by its place value. So 326 is 300 plus 20 plus 6. Now there are other ways that we represent numbers, but those are the three main ways that we do it. Well, there are plenty of other ways to represent numbers as well, using what we call unit form, representing numbers with pictures, and that's what NumTanga is all about. You are trying to find the representation of that number, or the amount that is being represented in two different ways. So in NumTanga, there are actually two versions to play. There's NumTanga Junior and regular NumTanga. NumTanga Junior is mainly just working with number sense and place value knowledge, separated out into different groups of numbers. So the different levels are representing different things: 1 through 5, 6 through 10, or all the way up to 1 through 20. Now, all of these levels here are appropriately for a student up through first grade. Students past first grade could definitely play this and still have fun with it, but these are the types of skills that kindergarten and first grade students are using. So I just want to quickly show you what that might look like. Let's go ahead and look at a level 6. Now, essentially what you're going to be doing here is there's going to be some options that pop up. One option from the left matches the option on the right. So we can see there we have the number 6, and we have a picture representing 5 and 1. So those are the two that match. And you can see that we got a point here. Now, the time, we are going to be racing against the time in this problem. So we can see we have, here's that 10 frame, 5 and 2 make 7, so 7 and 7. And you can see the time is racing against us. Now, if I get one wrong, I go down. So we're trying to race the time to beat it to the top here. So we'd have 6 and 6. We've got 5 and 5. You can see that we're using word form and pictures here. Here's the standard form of those numbers. Here we've got 16, so we've got a 10, a 5, and a 1. So that's essentially what you are doing here in NumTanga. You're trying to find the options from the left that match the options on the right using multiple means of representation. Now, let's look at this NumTanga. As you can see, we start with numbers 0 through 20, but then we start to build numbers up into the hundreds. We even start doing NumTanga with money, so two amounts being represented differently, or fractions and measurement. So I actually want to look at the fractions and measurement here just to give you an idea of what those might look like. So here we see fractions represented as parts of a set, fractions of a whole, or even fractions in word form here. So in this one, we might see that this has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 equal pieces, so 1 out of 8, and here we see 1 out of 8 equal pieces. So again, we see 1/6 in standard form and 1/6 in word form. And we're racing against the clock here to be the winner. So we can see that we have we have 7/8 and 7/8. So 5/8, 5/8. And you're working against the clock here. Now, one thing I really want to show you is, especially for our 4th and 5th grade students who are starting to work with conversions of measurements, NumTanga is so awesome for this, for getting students to have that automatic conversion factor in their head and to start converting things automatically. Those of you who are bakers or sewers or woodworkers know how important these conversions are. And for students who want to go into those career and tech ed type things like working at an auto body shop or doing woodworking or going into construction working, these are skills that are necessary. So if we look here, we can see that students are having to find a measurement from one side that matches a measurement on the other. And these might be difficult because students might not know some of these, but I can guarantee you after playing NumTanga for a little while, they'll pick up on these measurements and they'll pick up on these conversions. So 1 quart is the same as 32 fluid ounces. Or we can see that we have 2 cups, 4 quarts, 16 fluid ounces. So if we noticed earlier that the 4 quarts was 16 fluid ounces, or was the 32 fluid ounces, we can use that to answer 2 cups, or 2 quarts is the 16 fluid ounces. So 1 yard is equal to 3 feet. We keep looking here. I like this because now we're showing meters to kilometers. So this is great practice for students. So we're going to see if we can kind of work this one out to get to the end here. Now what I also like is students should be able to use context clues. These are all units of distance, and this is a unit of capacity. And we know that 3 feet is not equal to 1 mile. So students can use context clues to try and answer these questions as well. Now I like we're going from a yard all the way down to inches. We're bypassing feet. So you can see where these different conversions are going to be important for students to know. Let's see if I can beat the clock here, as I've done a little bit too much talking here. And we can see how this is going to, so we're also looking at this in word form and writing as an abbreviation. So these are going to get harder as you go up in these rounds as well. So now you can see that we have 3 options. So I really love NumTanga. It's all about representing amounts in different forms, whether those different forms are just a picture in a word or a number in a word or 2 different measurements that represent the same amount.